This is a demonstration of problem 830A, accounting for uncollectible accounts using the allowance method, aging of receivables, and reporting receivables on the balance sheet. At September 30th, 2024, the accounts of Green Terrace Medical Center include the following, and the problem gives us the balance in accounts receivables of $145,000 and the allowance for bad debts balance of $3,500. It states next that during the last quarter of 2024, Green Terrace Medical Center completed the following transactions, and we're going to use this information to complete the requirements. So in Part 1 it states open T accounts for accounts receivable and allowance for bad debts, and journalize the transactions omitting explanations and post to the two accounts. So using the information that is provided, we're going to record the journal entries for Green Terrace Medical Center. The first information states that they had sales on account of $450,000 and ignore cost of goods sold. So to record this transaction, we would debit accounts receivables for $450,000 and credit sales revenue for the same amount. Next, it states that they collected on account $427,000. So we would debit cash for $420,000 and we would credit accounts receivables for the same amount. Next, it states that they wrote off accounts receivable as uncollectible for Reagan Company $1,400, Owen Reese $800, and Patterson Inc. $700. So the total for those three accounts was $2,900. So we would debit the allowance accounts for bad debts for $2,900, and we would credit accounts receivables for each of those accounts for the amount shown. So accounts receivable Reagan Company $1,400, accounts receivable Owen Reese for $800, and accounts receivable Patterson Inc. for $700. Next, we're going to post these amounts to the T account. So our beginning balance in accounts receivable was $145,000. We would debit accounts receivable for $450,000 for the credit sales that were recorded, and we would credit the accounts receivables for $427,000 for the collections. Then we would debit the allowance account for the write-off of $2,900, and we would credit accounts receivables for the same amount. That gives us a balance in our accounts receivables of $165,000 and a credit balance in the allowance for bad debts of $600. Next, we're going to age our accounts receivables. So the problem told us that the amount of the receivables that we had in each of the categories. So in the 1 to 30 days that are past due, we had $104,000. In the 31 to 60 days, we had $39,000. In the 61 to 90 days, we had $14,000, and in the over 90 days past due, we had $8,000. Then the problem gave us the estimated percent uncollectible for each of these categories. So 0.3% for 1 to 30 days, 3% for 31 to 60, 30% for 61 to 90, and 35% for over 90 days. So to determine the estimated total uncollectible, we multiply the accounts receivables in each category by the estimated percent uncollectible. So for the 1 to 30 days, it would be $312. For 31 to 60 days, it would be $1,170. 61 to 90 would be $4,200, and over 90 days would be $2,800. When you add those three amounts together, we get $8,482 as the estimate of the total uncollectible accounts for the $165,000 in accounts receivables. Now, when we use the aging of receivables method, we take the amount that we need to have in the allowance account, but we subtract the balance that we currently have. So our adjusting entry would be for the difference of $7,882. So to make that entry, we would debit bad debts expense for $7,882, and we would credit the allowance account for the same amount. Next, we will post that amount to our allowance for bad debts, $7,882, and that gives us the balance of $8,482 that we need in the allowance account. In part 2, it asks us to show how Green Terrace Medical Center should report net accounts receivables on its December 31st, 2024 balance sheet, and we have a partial balance sheet for December 31st, 2024 with accounts receivables and the subtracting the allowance for bad debt. So we take our balance in accounts receivables, $165,000, and we subtract from that the balance that's in the allowance for doubtful accounts of $8,482, and that gives us the net amount for accounts receivables of $156,518, and that is the conclusion of the demonstration for problem 830A.